Love movies as much as we do? Bring the experience of the big screen to your walls with movieposters.com. Whether you're into classics, blockbusters, or indie gems, they've got something for every film fanatic. As a listener of our podcast, you can get 15% off your order now. Just use code Grandma'sHouse15 at checkout. Head to movieposters.com and let's build your ultimate collection today.
What's your name? Do bears even have names?
Of course we do. My name is...
Beg your pardon? Right.
Hello. Please come in. There's some fresh cookies in the cookie jar. There's a pitcher of Kool-Aid on the counter. Have a seat. We'll put a movie on for you. This is Movies at Grandma's House, where we look at the movies from the past to see if they're still good today. And I am your host, Isaac. Ketchup. You want to call him Ketchup. Ketchup the bear. And who's joining me for the live action version of Paddington?
This is Seth. You're not using those ear brushes to clean your mouth, are you, Mr. Brown?
Oh, I love it. Oh, it's great to see you. How you doing, Seth?
I'm tired, but I'm good. I'm in one of those moods, one of those like hyped up moods.
I get you. I hope I sound okay. I feel kind of blah. I got like a scratch in my throat. I've been, not to be TMI, but runny nose. So it's been nothing but tissues all over the place. I'm cold, but I'm happy to be here. I'm really happy. I'm ready to go. This is a exciting movie for us to cover, and I was really looking forward to it. I saw we're going to cover this one, and I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be a good one. So I'm ready to get into this one. Before we do, we have to just say real quickly, be sure wherever you're watching us, hit that like button, hit that notify bell, hit the subscribe, hit all that good stuff. Do us a solid if you don't mind. We appreciate it so much. And we want to give you a proper spoiler warning. If you've not seen this movie, please stop what you're doing. Go watch it now. Come on back and we'll have a great time with this movie. This is none other than Paddington. It was released back on November 28th, 2014, 10 years ago. It feels like it came out a lot sooner than that. I don't know. 10 years just doesn't seem like... I don't know what... Oh, I'm getting old. Oh, goodness. But that's where the time it came out 10 years ago. It had a budget of $65 million, so a decent budget there. And the box office was $318.7 million. So it definitely was a hit compared to the budget. And as far as reviews, it's pretty favorable, actually very favorable in some cases. IMDb, it's got a 7.3 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, it's a 97%. So not very many of those do we see that highly ranked. And I see Metacritic, it's about 77. So overall, positive, favorable reviews going on with this film. So again, this was released 10 years ago. I'm interested to hear, what are some first memories that you have with this film?
So I don't recall the first viewing, but this one is one of my mother's favorite movies. I've seen this well over 10 times for sure.
Cool. I've got a confession. I didn't see it when it came out. I had not seen this movie, but I always wanted to see it, if that makes sense. I don't know why. I can't tell you the reason that I missed out on seeing this film. But like I said, we talked about covering this movie. I got excited because I'm like, all right, I got to sit down and watch this movie finally after all this time. So I don't really have any first memories. I remember seeing the previews for it. It looked like a very charming, fun movie. But that's all I have of it. It's just kind of little trailer bits here and there. So that's kind of a fresh approach for me coming into this one. But might have given away my expectations, but I'm interested to hear what were some expectations that you have watching this now 10 years later.
Honestly, sit back, prepare to laugh, and enjoy the journey. So it's a good one. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Go with expectations. I didn't see this before, and I heard nothing but good things about it. It was just, oh, this is a fantastic movie. My expectations were actually, I want to lower them a little bit because I don't want, maybe because they were just heightened so much that it's not a bad movie, but maybe just kind of let down. There's been times where that's happened. People have recommended something and they really hype it up. So I actually try to keep the most level expectation going into this as possible. That's it. So let's go ahead and jump into it then, shall we? Let's take, in this case, since it was 10 years ago, I don't think you get this on VHS. So let's just stick to the streaming service at this point. Let's pull up Peacock. This is where you can watch this on streaming for free. Let's go ahead and pull that up and select Paddington and press play.
In darkest Peru, we find a family of bears. These bears love marmalade. Until one day, they get separated. The youngest travels to London and meets a strange family, making him feel at home. In quite an adventure, we see a story about how love makes a true family. Grab a snack and a drink, find a seat at Grandma's house.
Very nice. It's a great summary there. Oh, there's a lot I'd love to touch on with this movie, but I'm interested. I'm really curious. What are some first impressions that you get as you're watching this movie?
So I would say the first thing that comes to mind is that the movie is very cute and adorable. The storyline is strong and the characters shine.
Absolutely. I was blown away. I'm just going to say that. Like, the movies we've covered, I talked about expectations. I tried to lower them but I was still like, wow. I kept saying that to myself. And a lot of it is just how the story is told, how different shots and arrangements are done. It just pulls you in. I was immediately drawn in, and I never let go. I was just like, I do not want to miss a second of this kind of a feeling. And I can't say that about a lot of movies recently. I'll just say that. I mean, this is, like we said, 10 years old, but it feels recent to me, if that makes sense. And yeah, it just, my first impressions with a fresh take, I was drawn in immediately. Just, it's like you said, a cute movie, but it's fun. It's a kid's movie, but when I think family movie, it was just hitting on a lot of stuff as I'm watching this movie. That's what really made an impression on me, is just, wow. That word, I was turning into Owen Wilson. Wow. Wow. I don't
Wow.
takes a lot to do that to me, as I guess what I have to say concerning that. But yeah, I mean, Paddington's just so charming. It's just a character I adore. What did you think of how they portrayed Paddington? Because this is based off of other media. This isn't like a original thought. But what'd you think of his character?
So if I could just dig in for a second, I knew of Paddington when I was a little boy. There was a cartoon that briefly aired. I think it was before I was born, but they played the reruns after I was, when I was growing up. And that's how I knew Paddington. And there was a book way before, way back when. And I think I actually read the book at one point. So I kind of knew a little bit about Paddington. When I saw that this movie was coming out, I got super excited. It's just a great take on an older story, and the character is just unbelievably well done. I think I wrote down on my notes that all the characters are so distinctive, with big personalities, well developed. So yeah, it's just adorable is probably, and charming, like you said, are probably the words that I would use to describe Paddington.
Yeah, that's cool. When you have things you grow up with, and they adapt it later on, I
Mm.
think it's a bittersweet moment when you hear about it. That's at least for me, because you get excited, but you're also like, "Oh, I hope they don't ruin this. I hope that they do it justice," I guess. It's not gonna be exactly what you had growing up because it's gonna be its own thing, but that's really cool that you're able to enjoy both, because there's only a handful I can think of that do that very well, that they adapt something and it's just as good, or you feel good about it. And I could see that with this. If you grew up watching this, if it's like the show, I never watched it growing up. I remember seeing previews for it, but
Mhm.
if the movie recreates that, I bet the show was fantastic. I mean, it's very charming. Again, that's the word I'll keep using. Like you were saying, it fits it well. It's just a very enjoyable film through and through. I mean, I'm just kind of gushing about it already, right out the gate. But yeah, that's how I feel about
One
it.
one thing I'd like to bring out is this is actually a British movie.
That's
I
true.
don't know that we've covered a British movie before on our podcast, but, I think that's really special because this played, like you said, with the box office globally, and that's a big swing to take because it's a British story that actually it's from England, and, I have a fun fact. I don't know if you want me to just jump it out, use it
Yeah.
now because it goes along with what we're talking about,
Oh yeah.
but, the originally the author, Michael Bond, of this story, Paddington, was nervous about the project of turning his character into a live action movie, like the adaptation of it. However, he was convinced after seeing a half a minute of test footage. So that's all it took for him to be like, "Okay, well, let's do this thing."
That is so cool. I can see
Yeah,
it though.
yeah.
Absolutely, I can see that. And I mean, I guess my hesitation when I was worried is when you're talking CGI, animation, and real life,
Mhm,
it can be done so bad. Like, I mean, it's like, oh, you kind of roll your eyes at times of just you're not in the moment. You're just not in it because it looks so fake.
mhm,
And maybe it's not perfect, but I don't know, it matches the style. And I think
mhm,
that's why, okay, this is 10 years ago. So this is, technology from 10 years ago. It still holds up to me. Like, I didn't feel like, "Oh, this is pretty, you know, grainy or whatever." Maybe it did at times, but it wasn't taking me out at all. I
mhm.
can't say at any time I was like, "Oh, that looks really bad and fake." Maybe it wasn't, like, super realistic, but I think it has its own. Did you get that sense? Like, was it kind of its own style?
Yeah, it has a feeling, a vibe to it that's not like anything else, and if I could go back again, with the budget, they really pulled off like a miracle because it's so crisp and it looks so it's its own thing, and to do that, I think you said it was 65 million or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing. I
That it
mean, truly amazing.
Yeah, I agree. I don't when I saw the budget, I was like, "Are you serious?" Like,
Yeah,
the quality and how I think, again, it has its style and it goes with it. It's not
yeah.
trying to be super realistic, because I think when movies do that, sure, at the time, maybe they look really great because that is the newest and greatest at that moment, but then as time goes on, it shows its age, and it's like, "Oh," and it's because it was trying to be look as realistic as possible.
Mhm,
And this one, it's like it's doing that, but it's also unique at that it's almost like a cartoon. As much as, he looks realistic and he's a bear and even does like growls like a bear realistically. I find that hilarious when he's talking bear and what it means. So it's
mhm.
just, yeah, it's just so charming. I mean, what'd you think about his interaction with the family and other people?
Well, first of all, I mean, props to the family, the actors there that work with him. They did an amazing job making it look like it's all real. I mean, even the child actors, they really made it seem like it was part of the family,
Yeah.
and that's not easy to do when you're doing like CGI work and I forget what they call those, the film caption or whatever. where they have the different, like, they make things that look like the subject that they, they're not really moving or anything. And it was just amazing. The acting in this movie is great. And their interactions, like the whole family, theme of the movie is quite compelling.
Yeah. Yeah, it just they have their own depth to them. This isn't just like a standard family and here you go, it's just your parents and kids. They each had their own plot, and I mean that could be something that you could just have your own podcast on. Is just break down each one of these characters. They're not super deep, it's not complicated. That's not what I mean. It's just that they have their own backstory almost going on. And Paddington is there kind of that I don't know what word I'm looking for, if you can make it one word, but he's there to help them through whatever challenge they're dealing with.
Mhm.
And maybe that's what the charm is. He's kind of that missing link in this family. And, as much as he's kind of klutzy and he does it in a very fun way, but, he gets in trouble oftentimes, it's what that family needed. And
Yeah.
it's really, it's like, how do you not love that? That's just a feel good story. I mean, the story does involve a villain, and that's played by a very famous actress. What did you think about that premise?
So, I remember seeing a trailer for the movie and seeing that Nicole Kidman was a villain in the movie, and I was really shocked because it didn't seem like it was gonna fit, but my goodness, did it ever fit. It was perfect. She did an amazing job. She was very evil.
Very.
Very
Oh,
evil. She goes
ooh.
up there with the worst that we've reviewed so far.
Y- you know, um, come to think of it, she would have made a great villain with another villain that we've covered in Rescuers Down Under.
Oh, yes. Yes, yes.
Very similar.
Yes, yes.
They're both after animals, and so yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say that there's the scene where her like henchman or whatever you want to call him brings her the monkey. I was like, oh my goodness, is she gonna actually skin this monkey or stuff him right there? And spoiler alert, doesn't, because at the end you see the monkey in the cage, and I kind of breathed a sigh of relief. I was like, okay, the monkey's okay. Like I was actually concerned from the monkey.
Yeah, it gets pretty intense. There's a few scenes in this movie that you're like, "What's gonna happen here?"
Yeah. Yeah, I was just like, "Whoa!" Like I wasn't expecting it, I guess, because going back to if we rewind at the very beginning, it is sad. His one family member, there's that storm, and you assume something happened there, and that's where he gets that hat. That was his uncle's hat, and it makes it kind of his trademark. But there's some sad elements, but for the most part, it's very, fun and, silly at times. It's very much for the kids. I was watching this with my kids, like I do all these movies, and I know they were kind of quiet. And
Yeah.
that's my gauge. When they get quiet, I know that it's like this is something with weight to it. And when she was doing that, well, I think one of my kids was just like, "What is she trying to do
No.
with these animals?" And it was like, yeah, I don't know how to explain that one in a, innocent way, really. But yeah, she's clear-cut villain in this, but she does play it very well. I have to give props to her. And like you said, all the actors are
Yeah,
great in this. It's
yeah.
just it's so fun. I don't know what else to say. Just great chemistry going on between all the characters. And as much as Paddington is a CGI, animated character, he just gels with everybody, just really fits in and obviously steals the show, but that's how it should be. He's the main character, the title character. Um, but yeah, I love the lines in this too. Was there any dialogue or lines that are memorable to you?
Besides my introduction line, I really liked, Well, I think it's at the beginning of the film when they said, "Embarrassing but tasty." I love that. But there's so many. There were so many I couldn't put them down because I didn't wanna pick one over another.
Yeah. I feel like I was laughing a lot,
Yeah.
and so normally I'll remember lines because maybe I'll kinda chuckle or I'll laugh, but I think I also missed a few
Yeah.
lines because there's some really good, like, back to back if
Yeah. The whole
you're laugh
dialogue is really well done. That's another thing we didn't talk about yet.
yeah,
They really captured, the speeches, the back and forth, the banter, everything was just top notch. It was well done.
yeah. The writing, I mean, just I think that's what you can chalk it up to. The story and how it's told is really well. The
Yeah,
dialogue is just wonderful. I love
brilliant.
the
Yeah.
dialogue in this. The father, when he's upset, he's just kind of being stubborn about accepting Paddington. He wants to, take him to like a shelter or I forget where exactly, but he keeps saying different. He just doesn't want Paddington there. And the line that always stuck out to me is he's upset, but she's like, the mother's just, come on, come on. And so he turns away and he just says, I'm doing my look away face. I loved it. I loved it. And there's so many lines like that. It's so again charming. It's just fun and I mean, I don't know how you don't find it just enrich and pulling you in. I just love the experience overall. It was just so much fun.
It's very captivating. It's like all encompassing. Like once you see it, you can't turn away from it. There's just something about, like you said, the storytelling, the cinematography, the CGI mixed with the cinematography. It's just all so compelling.
Yeah.
It's hard to look away.
It is. And if this tells you something, my oldest, he actually was reading because we were gonna put it on and he was kinda like, "Oh, okay," he was reading a book or something. He put the book down and started watching.
Whoa!
Yeah. That's a high mark for me if you can get my oldest to not because he loves to read. He loves books. If you get him to stop reading, that tells you something about how and just engrossed you can get in with this movie. I mean, I'll just say it right now. I think this is the best cinematography I've seen in the movies we've covered so far, and that's saying a lot
Ooh.
because we've covered some amazing movies. So I'm not taking that lightly. I just was blown away. I mean,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
there's one way to tell a story. Like
yeah.
I'm telling you a story, but the way it's told is just beautiful. It's
Mhm,
just the the way like what stuck out to me also was like the wallpaper
mhm,
for the staircase.
mhm,
When Paddington went missing, it was empty.
mhm.
And then, at the end when everything is back together, you see it like animated growing together. Little subtle things like that, man, I will eat that up. I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah.
I just and that it's just oozing with that in this movie. I mean, I can't gush enough about it. So I think you can also go with, your personal taste. Maybe there's another movie, but I'm just gonna say it. Like, if it's not the best, it's right up there. I don't know. What'd you think?
Well, now I'm curious. I'm gonna have to go back and look at all the ones we've done and, kinda get my take on the cinematography. I know the shots that are like the outer shots, like the perimeter shots of like, Peru and everything, those are really gorgeous. But, the actual lighting and everything inside the house is really well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's just it makes it more interesting. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so, they really did a good job.
Yeah, I can't say enough. I was blown away. Like, I was not expecting it to be that captivating to me.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, we've covered I'm going off the top of my head just real quick. I mean, we just covered what we consider peak Pixar. I mean, I'd put those movies up there. I mean, Ratatouille is probably one of those movies where the cinematography, the way a story is driven and told, but I mean, it's right there. if it's not more, it's right there with it. That's what really stuck out to me. The characters, like we talked about, the dialogue, it's just, I don't know, very polished. It's just,
Yeah.
what else can you say about it? It's just so well rounded, and yeah, that's all I can really say. I'm just still stunned of how, you know, a, a pleasant surprise it really was as I'm watching this movie. That's how I can say. So, but yeah, anything else or fun facts or anything that we might have missed on?
I got a couple fun facts. So one thing, in the UK, the popularity of this movie greatly enhanced the sale of marmalade and oranges within the first half of 2015 and served a rise in downloads of marmalade recipes.
Okay.
So that sounds like a tasty fun fact.
I like
Another
it.
thing, I know you're going to love this one. A real bathtub was used for the scene where the Browns' house is flooded. It took several weeks to finish the sequence that required to send the bathtub down the stairs for several takes.
Wow.
So that actual bathtub he's riding in really went down those stairs. That's insane. I don't know how they did that. That's so cool.
That is so cool, and I think it just adds to what I'm saying of,
Yes.
again, how things are shot. They went for it, they could have just said, "Let's just CGI a bathtub and call it a day." I mean, and not to knock CGI animators, that's a lot of work, and that's a lot, but the more real you can be, the better, and that just shows. I mean, I thought, yeah, that has to be a real bathtub, but I'm like, maybe not. But now that you're saying it, it's like, yep, that's just terrific. I love it.
It took weeks to make that work. That's crazy. I wonder how expensive that scene was.
It didn't eat into their budget. I mean, if that was an expensive shot, that's makes it even more impressive because again,
Yeah.
65 million in it to look that good.
No, yeah, I 100% agree with you. I would think after watching this movie, I would think the budget would have been around 100, 120, 125.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think it's 65 million. I don't think you could make this picture again.
No. I can't see it. That's what's remarkable to me. Like, wow. But hey, that took weeks to do that bathtub. I'll say it right now. That was totally worth it. I know that
Oh yeah.
they probably hated it, the people that had to work on that, but hey, hats off, a round of applause for all the hard work because I think it was totally worth it. It
I
really
knew
did.
you'd love that fun fact.
Yeah. Yes. Adds to it so much more. There's another layer there. That's just terrific. I love it. So, yeah, any other fun facts or anything else to throw in there?
No, I think besides my overview and personal rating, you know, I'm covered all my bases.
All right. Well, I think we touched on a lot. I mean, there's so much more we could talk about, but we really did cover a lot of good things. I don't know if there's any negative. I'm going to leave that. I'm interested to hear what kind of reviews are out there. So let's do that. Let's see what we're looking at when it comes to around the net. So Seth, what kind of reviews are you seeing out there?
Well, I will say most of them were positive. Um, the ones that I pulled out are a couple of repeat offenders. Snoopy Style says absolutely charming, 8 out of 10, which I think is a pretty good score. What do you
Yeah.
think about that?
Yeah. I mean, if you're 8, you're right there. I mean, to me, I guess, we've kind of shown from different reviews we brought up, people's rating systems might vary.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
they think. I think 5 is average.
Mhm.
If it's right in the middle, that's just, there's nothing.
Five's not even bad. Five's not even bad.
No,
Yeah.
it's just average. It's just, you'd say like, yeah, that was an average movie. 6 is, okay, that was better than average, but it's got its flaws. 7 is, okay, this is a pretty good movie. I think 8 is like, you're good. Like that's
Yeah, yeah.
a good movie. And then 9 is like great, like wow. And 10 obviously is like, if not flawless, it's a perfect movie. Yeah. So I don't have any I don't know what to say. I think that just says, yep, they like the reviews I mentioned earlier, it seems like it's pretty positive for the most part, and that's no different, it sounds like.
Got a couple more. Buddy Dash 51 said, entertaining for all audiences, 7 out of 10.
Okay. So there you go. Yeah. See, that to me, I'd say is a good movie. They
Yeah.
they seem to enjoy that. So again, mostly positive.
And Apple Dreams 4 says, watch out for the world's most wanted bear, 10 out of 10.
Wow. And the names continue on. That's a new one. I don't at least recall seeing that one before or hearing it. So yeah, 10 out of 10. That's again seeing the feedback. What I remember when this movie was released, yeah, that's what I was hearing a lot of that. Actually, like 9 out of 10 if people were to rate it. So that's not surprising to see, but that's good to know, to kind of pull everything in and just kind of get a overall view of that. So thanks for sharing those reviews, but let's get down to it. Let's get our reviews now. So I got to start with you, Seth. I got to ask you the question. When it comes to Paddington, how would you rate it? Are you going to take it home?
Sorry.
Go for it. What
No,
you got?
go ahead. It's our thing. We got to do our thing.
Well, I'm interested to know, are you going to take it home? Are you going to leave it at grandma's? Or are you going to hide it in the attic?
So I have to take this home. For me, it was just about perfect. An easy rewatch.
Yes, I'm taking this home. I'm not even going to leave any suspense. Like, this is one of those movies, like, no hesitation. I'm taking this home. Like, I want to watch it again. Like, this is one of those movies. I think, we're talking about, like, I'm getting kind of this cold or whatever. It's getting to be winter weather. This is one of those movies I think of just put on. You have a fireplace going, maybe some hot cocoa or a hot beverage, and you could just chill out and have a great time with this movie. Or you can watch it other times. I think it doesn't matter, but it's just a cozy, get yourself comfortable. And like you said at the onset, beginning, just get yourself a, popcorn and a blanket maybe, and sit down and just relax. It's just one of those movies that I would want to put on just as kind of like a comfort food. Just any time I could watch this movie. I love it. I love this movie. I'll just say that. Maybe the villain with Nicole Kidman, she can be a little intense at times. I guess that's a fair warning. If you want to talk about any negatives, that might be the only negatives I can think of, but it's not. It doesn't push it. It's nothing that I thought of going, oh, that was too much. It just maybe got up to the line. Maybe, depending on the person, maybe they'll take it a different way. But I didn't take it that way. My kids loved it. They had a fantastic time. Like I said, my oldest put a book down and watched this movie. So enough said. That's all I can say.
As a quick overview, I'd love to get your thoughts on this. So I thought very clever, extremely entertaining, and well thought out. Do you agree with those statements?
100%.
Yeah. It's a good movie.
I really didn't know, again, what to expect. I kept hearing good things. And anytime that happens, I just kind of go, okay, that was okay. Because I guess I buy into the hype and I'm expecting very just unreasonable expectations is what it is. But that didn't happen here. It blew away my expectations. And I mean, even if I did maybe lower them, I don't feel like, I don't know, it could have let me down. I don't know. I can't say enough. It's just, agree with everything you're saying there. It's just a very charming, and what else? We've talked about it. It's just, everything is just well done. I'm going to go watch it right now. Almost. I just want to go put it on. That's just talking about it. I think you get the idea. So, well, there you have it. There's our review. And I don't think it was a shocker if you're listening what the end result was going to be, but that's our thoughts and our take on it. So before we wrap up, let's make sure we cover our bases though. So Seth, where can people find us on our social platform?
You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. You can always email us at movies@grandmashouse@gmail.com. And we are now on Patreon. Check us out, become a member, so you can stay up to date on all things Movies at Grandma's House.
There you go. And feel free to drop us a line, a message, any memories you have of movies that we have covered even, but ones that are upcoming, because like Seth mentioned, you can follow us on those platforms. We might throw out some teases every once in a while. We just covered the Sonic movies. So you were aware of that coming up. So be sure you follow us so you know what's coming up. And be sure to drop us a line, message us any memories or any takes, even your reviews. We're interested to hear your reviews. What do you think of these movies? And we'll be sure to give you a shout out in that way. So that'll do it for now here at Grandma's house. Don't worry, we'll be back soon enough. But in the meantime, remember to be kind and rewind. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.